So you're interested in becoming a Camo Specs online artist? Let's talk about that. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully the audio and stuff comes through fine. I almost knocked some stuff over. For today's video, mostly just going to be rambling. I want to talk a little bit about becoming a Camo Specs online artist. And hopefully this video doesn't come across too much like me tooting my own horn or anything. That's not the intention at all. I've been sitting on this for, I think, a month, a little over a month. And there's been a little bit of a post online, Camo Specs Online posted, that I became one of the artists, and I've shared that and briefly talked about it, I think in a social media post, but I haven't really done a lot. I didn't do a YouTube video or anything. I didn't make a huge splash or talk about it too much, probably mostly because, what's a good word? Humble is a good word, but like, I don't know. I don't want to seem like I don't know, I'm disingenuous, something like that. I worked really hard to get in, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that with you guys because some of you, this may be something that you're interested in as well. So if you are interested in becoming a Camo Specs online artist, first and foremost, it's an interesting group of people, an interesting club, so to speak, or team to be part of. But if you're only doing it just for the name's sake, I recommend that you reevaluate why you might be interested in submissions and why you might want to be part of the group. I'll get into the reasons why I applied and ultimately got in and was excited about that. But it was not just about the title. It wasn't just about any notoriety. And let's be honest, I think the Camo Spec stuff is cool, but it's a very niche group. Battletech is very niche. This is what we're into, and you know the caliber of artists that are there ranges, but we're different. It's a small group. I'm trying not to make comparisons, but there's a difference between CSO and like Golden Demon, and I think that we're great artists. But our group, the people that want to do this, are it's very niche within a niche. You know what I mean? Like. There's a lot of people that do things crazy painting-wise for other companies, and our group, our demographic's very small. So, don't know exactly where I was going with that, but I felt like it was kind of worth bringing up, I suppose. Maybe it was more like talking about being part of a club, notoriety, whatever. Like if you're a Golden Demon winner, cool. You know, that's like a badge of honor or an accolade that a lot of people want to get it. Whereas like to say you're a CSO artist, that is great, but like, did you do it just to be an artist or just for the title? Or are you actually trying to do something for the community, for the game, for Battletech? So what I would say, if you are interested in becoming a CSO artist, one of the first things to consider is your ability to work as a team. This is something that Ray Arista spoke to me about at KarinskyCon, and was 100% true. And my interactions with the CSO group, it's been 100% true. So first and foremost, if you want to be a part of the CSO team, you got to be able to work as a team, and that means putting in submissions and swallowing your pride when they find something wrong with it. And I did a lot of submissions and was very frustrated with a lot of the nitpick stuff that happened, but it is what it is. And if they're going to put something into a publication, they want it to be the best thing. And what's going to happen is when you submit stuff, they're going to find mold lines or dust or something small, perhaps something big, and they're going to tell you about it. And the expectation is that if you would like to be a part of the team, that you can handle that critique, not get angry, and fix problems. This is kind of like doing commission work where I used to paint stuff for people, and if they didn't like something or they wanted something changed, I got to edit that. You know what I mean? Like if I got a color wrong or they wanted something here, a detail done I didn't do, go back and do it. Because in this case, you know, you're being paid for commissions, not necessarily being paid for being a CSO artist, but if you want to have your name associated with a picture or a mini that's in a publication, it's sort of the same thing. You're doing something for on behalf of the CSO team, and they want to make sure if they accept you that you're a type of individual who can handle that criticism. And one of the things that came up quite a few times while I was submitting was people that were being denied and then getting frustrated, going online and complaining. And I get it. I get that the first thing you want to do is rage, and you can do that to yourself or with yourself. You know, voice your concerns and be frustrated, but like grow and move on and try and do better. And that's all you can do. And I would tell you, I don't think I'm the worst artist in the world, and I got denied several times, and had to keep trying and keep fixing stuff and doing stuff. And some of it was very, very minor stuff that was very frustrating, but if it's something you want to do, you have to do that, right? You have to go through those hurdles, go through those motions, and show that if they're going to trust you with the CSO name and with the ability to put something out there in a publication, that like you're going to put forth the best product possible. So the second thing I would say is if you're interested but you feel like you're not good enough, I would say that's not a good philosophy either. There are a variety of artists on the CSO team with a variety of skill sets and everything in between. And the biggest part of that is the first point, which is working as a team. If you are able to put out a quality product, quality paint job, with the mold lines cleaned and good photography, and you followed all the steps, you don't have to be the quote golden demon, because they do have members of the team who paint at a variety of levels. So I feel like someone might think that some of the CSO stuff has some gatekeeping that occurs, but I don't think that's necessarily them trying to be like the cool kids club. It's more, again, just trying to make sure you can work as a team. And that does mean that whether you're a golden demon artist or you're a new artist, that you can meet a certain standard and do the things they want you to do if they find an error. So if you are a newer artist and you aspire to do CSO stuff, there's room for improvement, room for growth, room for you to do things. And some people, they progress faster than others. Some people just have, God-given talent, so to speak, and some people have to practice harder. But if it's something you're interested in, let that be your motivation to grow as an artist. Some of the other things that I would say for CSO is they're stickler for canon stuff, which doesn't make sense, and definitely with canon mech variants and so forth. So one of the entries I had in my first submission, one of their critiques was that it was not used by that faction. And I had always been told in Battletech that if you like a mech or a variant or something, you can usually make up an excuse for why a faction might have one. Maybe they stole it, or they got it as, Isorla? Is that the term for clanners when they take like a war trophy? So I went through all those justifications in my head for like, okay, I want this faction to have a Raven or something, and then find out that they don't. It's not listed on Master Unit List, and they're very particular about that. So if you're going to do a submission, do your research, make sure that the paint scheme and decal placements as best as possible, you've cleaned your mold lines, and that variant is listed on Master Unit List, or you can point to a publication. So like covers of some of the novels and stuff will have a variant of a mech that Master Unit List may have not kept up with, especially with some of the Dark Age stuff. And to my knowledge, that's generally, I think, okay, as long as you can point to a thing. If you are pointing to that thing and that variant is the only variant, they're going to be a stickler on that too. I submitted a Dominator for Wolf's Dragoons, and the only Wolf's Dragoon currently canonically who's piloting a Dominator is Morata Karinsky, and mine wasn't painted like his. It was painted like a Wolf's Dragoon, but not with his specific stuff. And because there's only one, it was not accepted. So there are stickler for that. But if you pick generic variants of mechs, like if you're doing Inner Sphere, pretty much everyone's got access to an Atlas, for example. So if you painted an Atlas and the paint scheme was correct and the unit markings and stuff correct, you're probably going to in a good place. So working as a team, cleaning mold lines and being open to critique, and growing as an artist, that's all important. So for me, not only was some of that frustrating, and I had to swallow my pride and fix things and do stuff, I want to kind of talk about some of what I submitted. The first entry they accepted, the one that's on the website now for me, the Armed Painter, and then kind of talk about why I wanted to be a CSO artist. We'll end on the why, because I think that is the most important part, but we'll throw up some photos here and talk about stuff. So KarinskyCon last year, 2022, September, I think. Towards the end of it, I was there with Robert from Fortress Miniatures and Games. Randall Bills and the guys, the Catalyst guys, were doing demos and stuff for the new Alpha Strike box. And I asked Randall, I offered to pay. Like, I don't, like, when it comes to getting early access to Battletech stuff, if I have to, I will pay for the boxes of things. I just want to be able to put up YouTube content, right? So I asked him, I was like, hey, I know it's small, I know it's a small channel, but is there any way I could get a copy of this Alpha Strike box early? I'd love to do an unboxing video, review the stuff, paint the models, and do some battle reports and stuff. He sent me with one of the preview copies they've been using to do demos. Didn't make me pay for it, which I was thankful for, but I totally would have. Just getting it a few months early would have been fantastic. So I came back and did the unboxing. I painted the minis. I didn't get the minis painted as fast as I wanted because, you know, doing what I do with life, it is what it is. Have ultimately finally got those battle reports up for the 2 missions in the core box. And then I decided that, you know, hey, they gave me this box, Catalyst proper, like the number 2 guy at Catalyst gave me this box. What if these models I painted were painted to a standard that I felt was good enough for CSO? And I had been, at this point, I had been through the process of going back and forth, submitting, editing, and stuff like that with CSO. So I painted the box. I did Northwood Highlanders in the Dark Age color scheme with the tan and green, and then I did the Raptor Keshik Jade Falcons with the gray and green. Or gray, I guess I should say jade, because it's not quite the same green. They are green, different shades of green, but the Northwind one's a bit of a darker green, and the Jade Falcon one's a jade. So I painted those up. Those are some of my submissions, and I'll try to interweave some pictures here of the group shots. This is a thing that I did for CSO that is not required and not accepted, but because I painted those that box set and all the minis, I sent them group photos. I was like, hey, I know these aren't, accepted, but I want you to see it. I put the effort into painting, 13 minis, actually a little bit more because I painted some Dark Age minis to go with it, but, the 13 minis from the box, I painted these. I want you to see them. And then I sent them singles of those too. But yeah, I had a really good time painting those minis. They look great. To date, the videos and stuff I've posted that have had the least engagement or the most dislikes is anything dealing with Jade Falcon. I don't know. I guess you guys in the community just hate them. But that's what's happened. I think they look great, even though they're the baddies, and I'm a Clan Wolf guy at heart by comparison, if I had to choose a clan anyway. But I really enjoyed these. The Highlanders look great. And one of the things that happened with me when I was working on the Highlanders is I dropped my my Archer, and I broke it. I don't know if the models are different. The plastic for this box is different, but it snapped one of these little sensor things off. So I had to adapt. I couldn't find it to re-glue it back on, so I had to make it look like battle damage. And then the very first game I filmed from the mission 1, I'm using that Locust, and I knocked it off the table and broke it too. Same thing, antenna snapped off. So I had to fix those, and sometimes, you work really hard on painting a thing, and it gets messed up, and you got to do what you got to do. I had a happy little accident and did some battle damage, and then put an antenna on the Locust. But yeah, so I submitted quite a few minis, not just the new Alpha Strike minis, a variety of things, a variety of different qualities of work, and I told them that when I submitted. I'm like, I am capable of doing X, Y, and Z. You're going to see a range of quality in these submissions, and I said I think that is important not only for them to see, but also if any of these are accepted, it lets the viewers know, the people who are looking at CSO know that you can do this. And I'm not trying to say that I'm some God's gift to the world for painting, but there's some paint jobs that are so good where I feel like, for me, sometimes I'm discouraged. It'll intimidate me. And then there's some paint jobs where I'm like, hey, I can do that, and I can learn a little thing while I do it, and I'm not as intimidated. That's not always the case for everyone, but when it came to CSO, I was like, here's things I've done that are decent tabletop standard, and then balls of the wall crazy, I did too much work, and I shouldn't use this as a gaming mini, but I do, type of paint scheme. And I thought that was good to show the range not only for myself, based on what projects they may ever have that they could have need for me for, but also for the viewers, so that you see, hey, this is what you could do, this is how you can progress, and knowing the target that you want to hit for quality, for the quality level you want to put out is important. So the submission that specifically got accepted, I'm assuming the other ones did, were up to the right standard, but the one that they put up first, we'll see if they put up other ones, was the Savage Wolf for Steel Wolves. This is actually the first major mini that I completed for my CSO submission, and this was over a year ago, and I'd sat on it for a while because I was intimidated to enter. I was worried. I'd heard horror stories from some of those very people who made submissions and got frustrated, and I was frustrated too when I got declined, but you start hearing the vocal minority of people who may have been declined getting upset or frustrated, and then that starts to weigh on you. So if you're one of the people who has heard this or has a impression that you can't do it, keep trying. Don't let someone else's negative experience be your negative experience, right? And I'd let that be a negative experience for me, and sap my motivation, and ultimately, that slowed me down trying to get submissions done. And then towards the end of last year, I got really motivated. I was like, let's do this. I painted the Savage Wolf a year ago at the time. Let's get the other entries done and let's roll. Let's go. So I painted the Savage Wolf up. The mini was donated to me by Bobby. He's been a force for good, so to speak, been trying to really motivate me, and I worked on this mini. It turned out really good. It's one of my favorite ones, even though it's an Iron Winds mini. Not that the Iron Winds is bad, but like the sculpts are different than the plastic, right? But it is a Dark Age mini, and it is one of my favorites. Dark Age has a special place in my heart. So I painted this up. I think it looks great. I love the canopy. I love the details. I love the kind of atmosphere of the photo, and I hope that you guys enjoy it as well. And this is the one that is up on the Camo Specs website. So, but yeah, so talked about like kind of your brain space, getting prepared for trying to enter the CSO scene if that's what you want to do. Being prepared for the critiques, being able to handle that, being able to work as a team, being able to try and progress as an artist and grow and be tenacious and not quit, showing you guys what I painted, and then showing off that Savage Wolf. That brings us to the point. Why did I want to be a CSO artist? So I was a full-time commission artist for a long time. I did not apply for CSO because I wanted notoriety or recognition to be able to make money from doing commissions. I have already done that and could continue to do that if I wanted to, whether that was with Battletech minis or not. I didn't do it because I wanted to brag on the internet. That's why, I got accepted I think a month ago or something, and now I'm just now doing a video, so it's like not about the bragging rights. In my application for CSO, I told them that like this is very important to me. I enjoy Battletech. I've enjoyed the games as a kid. Never got to get into the minis as a kid. The Kickstarter happened. I was able to make my character canon. I was able to put a stamp of myself on the universe. And I told them, it's like, my goal, like it is with the channel, is A, help grow the community, help bring new people into Battletech, help spread the Battletech joy, because right now, like, I think there's more to wargaming than just winning. I think there's the social contract between you and I, if we sit down to play, or you and your opponents. You should be there for them. If you're only there to roll dice and win, what's the point? You need another human being to do that, and if you're not enjoying playing with another person, or you're only enjoying winning, you're kind of missing part of the point. The point is the social contract, the engagement with someone else, where you guys come together and create this universe, this story with each other. That's important. And I told them, like, I want to be a part of the wave of Battletech creators, painters, and individuals who are helping grow this community. I want to put another stamp on it. Whether that means I'm called a CSO artist or I'm just some random YouTuber, whatever it is, this is what I want to do. And also, slightly self-serving on that front, the CSO artists have some opportunities to do canonized paint schemes, and my character in the universe, Justin Cloud Hall, is part of a merc company now, the Griffins, and maybe he won't be there forever. We'll see. There's other ideas of things I'm working on that would be cool if they were made canon, but there's an opportunity I might be able to be the artist who canonizes the paint scheme for the merc company that my actual canon character is currently a part of. And that's badass. That's neither here nor there. That's just a small thing. I told that to the CSO guys when I spoke to them. Like, this would be really cool if I have that opportunity. That's super leaving a stamp on the universe. You Google my name and I come up on Sarna, and then I could come up with a paint scheme. Like, that's super cool. But even if it's not just the self-serving one for mine, it's like being able to know that I helped do this thing to help grow this community. Whereas like 40K, which I was a part of forever, I don't feel like the community gets to do much to engage with the creators of this IP. It's so big now, and even then they don't always listen. Whereas I feel like Battletech, it's such a niche within a niche that like we all are kind of interconnected, and I get a lot of traction, a lot of views for the relative views for the size of my channel on my YouTube videos. I put it for Battletech, and my channel is very small, and what that says to me is that there is a market, a demand for content, for Battletech, for things, and it's Alpha Strike that I'm pushing, not Classic. Like, I don't do Classic, I do Alpha Strike, and I still get good views, I get good engagement for my tiny little channel. And it's like, hey guys, like, I want to be part of helping paint stuff. I want to help push these products, not just to I'm not trying to shill and make money or anything. It's like, I want to see this grow. I want to be able to walk into a game store and be like, hey, where's your wargaming at? And then I see 40K and I see whatever, and then I'm like, hey, you got Battletech on that shelf. That's badass. Right now it's not the case. You find that stuff like Barnes and Nobles and some shops, but like You go into a game store and it's typically like GW stuff, some other stuff, maybe some board games and Magic, right? I want to see Battletech get to a point where like it's growing. I don't want to see it get to the 40K tournament level. Like, I think there's room for tournaments. I just don't think the competitive scene is the right direction to go. Because then you get into a thing where it's like these mech variants don't matter. None of this matter. Only the stats matter. The meta stuff matters. And it's like, that's not good. I don't like that. I think you should be able to play with mechs that you think look cool, and there should be a reason to do that. If you get to a point where like half the models aren't getting used, like certain points in 40K's history, model looks great, but its rule sucks, no one plays with it. Or model's rules are really good and it looks horrendous and people buy it anyway. I don't like that. That's the thing about Battletech that I love, is that you may think that the heck, I don't know. I really like the Griffin. I like the Marauder. I like the Warhammer. I like the Shadowhawk. You may think the Shadowhawk is absolutely garbage, and then I find variants I like, and I use it well. And then you may think the Piranha is super awesome, and I think that thing is ugly as hell. But you may find a variant that's good, and you just think it looks cool, and you want to play with it, and you can use that model, and we can like the visuals and find variants that are cool, right? And that's where I'm at. That's what I want to promote. I want to encourage people to paint. I want to encourage people to play. I want to help grow the community. I want to do my part, and whether that means I get to do a bunch of stuff with CSO or a bunch of stuff on YouTube or and grow, or I stay small and I do what I do, it's what I want. I want to help be part of this community. I think that is very cool, and CSO is a small portion of that. It's also why I'm going to Nova 2023. I'm running another Battletech tournament. We're looking at trying to get the seats filled and sold out there this time. I'm partner up with Fortress to do that, and I'm also doing a paint class there for Battletech stuff or mecha stuff. So, which I'm sure there'll be some Battletech guys in there. So doing my part, and hopefully as we grow, the CSO portion will have, in my opinion, hopefully open some doors to rub shoulders with other individuals, add a stamp of validity to what I do, and help foster those relationships with not only the CSO members and the goodwill of the community, but also like showing catalysts that like, hey, you gave me free product and I used it, I'm good for that, I will do these things, and have that working relationship to see what can happen in the future. And if nothing happens, that's also cool. I like painting and I do what I do, but I'm walking the walk and trying to talk the talk, and that's what it is to me. CSO was not just being able to say it, and that's why I haven't made a big stink about it, because it's like it's just a part of the journey I'm on, and the grander scheme of things is growing the Battletech community. So but that said, that's kind of my journey on CSO, my thoughts on what's going on. If you're interested in becoming a CSO artist and you have questions or thoughts about my experience, feel free to sound off in the comments below. Happy to share with you. If you're new on this journey and this is a goal for you, I commend you for that, and I hope that you continue to paint and move forward and grow as an artist. And if you make it in, I will be one of the first to welcome you to the CSO team. And if you don't give up hope. Keep trying to paint, keep trying to grow, and be tenacious. Don't quit. Mech Warrior is not going to be a Mech Warrior look for very long if they've got any quit in them. So take that approach to the art as well. That said, I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to go with this video. I just want to sit down and talk about the CSO stuff for a bit and kind of ramble, put out a video for you guys. Hopefully it's something that was enjoyable for you to listen to while you were painting or on your ride to work, something like that. But on that note, as always, if I don't get off here, I will continue to ramble because it is what I do. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. As always, you guys keep painting your models, keep rolling your dice, and I will catch you guys next time.